Now, for this to have happened, this also means that this imaginary planet Theia had to be precisely the perfect size, the perfect weight, and the perfect distance from the Earth before it impacted. It also had to have impacted the Earth at just the right speed, perfect impact angle, just the right amount of angular momentum, and have hit Earth at precisely the right location. Not just to fine-tune Earth, as we just talked about, but to fine-tune the Moon to the exact distance and size. Because if the Moon were bigger or smaller, closer or farther away, we would all be in trouble. So Planet Theia was actually fine-tuning two things, the Earth and the Moon, and also Planet Theia had to be fine-tuned when it crashed into the Earth to make all these chain of events begin. Okay. Crazy luck, right? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And that's all fine-tuning fallacy, ladies and gentlemen.
So, the Moon's gravitational pull keeps the Earth on an even keel. So what would planet Earth be like if we didn't have a large celestial body like the Moon? The big thing is humans would not be able to exist.
Not unable to exist, humans would probably not have evolved in the first place.
The Earth would not be able to remain stable on its axis and would wobble chaotically between 0 and 90 degrees, almost like Mars.
Fortunately enough, New Scientist recently ran an article on the effect of various different planetary scenarios, including a brief discussion of a moonless Earth. In this situation, the article describes how the rotational period of the Earth would be about 12 hours, because only the Sun would produce tidal forces. Gravity would also be weaker, as about 10% of Earth's mass comes from Theia, and while the article mentions no wobbling, it does mention that, quote, our planet could have ended up spinning on its side like Uranus. The Earth's axial tilt does vary as it is, by a few degrees, and Mars's variation in obliquity is only thought to be between 11 and 49 degrees, rather than the 0 and 90 degrees claimed here.
The Moon also makes it so Earth has an average tilt, which makes our climate on Earth habitable, unlike a planet like Mars, where there is no stable climate whatsoever.
Martian climate is not as unstable as it is portrayed here. For example, it has seasons and ice caps which grow and retreat. Wikipedia has a lengthy article on the climate of Mars.
But besides all of that, let's get into a few more problems I find with this fairy tale. The first major problem is there is no evidence that this imaginary planet ever existed at all. There is evidence that parts of Earth's makeup are found on the Moon, but that is simply evidence that the Earth exists. What we do know for a fact is that the Earth has been impacted by giant meteors in the past, and any one of these impacts could have resulted in parts of the Earth ending up on the Moon.
And fragments of Earth on the lunar surface are not used as evidence for the giant impact hypothesis.
The second major problem is there's absolutely no evidence, geological or otherwise, that suggests that Earth was ever impacted by a giant planet.
What do you expect? A big ass crater? A big chunk missing from Earth? The Bell, Bruno and Gott paper I mentioned at the beginning gives evidence for the hypothesis.
So, that's 8 problems right there off the bat that you have to deal with. If you can explain away even 7 of them and we still have one issue, that still means your hypothesis is wrong.
Actually, if 7 issues with a hypothesis are explained, then it points to that hypothesis as being correct, or at least along the right lines. And if 7 can be explained, in all likelihood the 8th will be as well.
So, there's some more interesting facts. We all know that the Moon's gravitational influence produces ocean tides of our planet as well as the minute lengthening of the day. The Moon's orbital distance is about 30 times the diameter of Earth, which causes it to appear almost the same size as the Sun in the sky, allowing it to cover the Sun nearly precisely in total solar eclipses.
And for a lot of Earth's history, this wasn't the case. If the Moon blocked the Sun entirely, these guys would be saying, look at how the Moon gives us respite from the Sun. Look at this reminder about how something can be taken away so easily. Isn't God's creation amazing? If the Moon blocked the Sun less, these guys would be saying, look at how the Moon doesn't stop the Sun shining completely. Look how generous sunlight is. Isn't God's creation amazing? It's a no-lose situation for them. Any situation is an excuse to invoke God in some way.
Unlike most satellites of other planets, our Moon orbits nearer to the ecliptic plane than to the planet's equatorial plane. The moon's orbit is influenced by the sun and Earth in many complex and interesting ways. For example, the plane of the moon's orbital motion gradually rotates, which affects other aspects of lunar motion. These follow-on effects are mathematically described by Cassini's laws. Another coincidence of Thea, or a well-thought-out part of the creation?
This is directly taken from Wikipedia. Chad does say sources Wikipedia in the description, but to copy like for like without saying quoting X seems a little dubious. No matter, the lunar orbital plane may be the result of the impact that formed it. If the impactor was formed at the Lagrangian point 4 or 5, then it would make sense for it to be on the ecliptic rather than Earth's equatorial. This would seem to be a nice situation where a hypothesis explains some separate aspect of reality to what it is focused upon. This is speculation on my part, though this would make sense. The astronomical laws, the perturbations and gravitational influences, are not coincidences. They're simply the way the universe works.
Another fact that is kind of fun is that the moon has an exceptionally low albedo, not libido, albedo, giving it a similar reflectance to coal. Despite this, it is the second brightest object in the sky after the sun. This is partially due to the brightness enhancement of the opposition effect. Additionally, color consistency in the visual system recalibrates the relations between the colors of an object and its surroundings. And since the surrounding sky is comparatively dark, the sunlit moon is perceived as a bright object. Amazingly, the edges of the moon seem just as bright as the center of the moon, with no limb darkening due to reflective properties of lunar soil, which reflects more light back towards the sun than in other directions. Also, the moon appears to be much larger when closer to the horizon, but this is purely a psychological effect of the human mind. This is known as the moon illusion. Pretty awesome and very beautiful for something that supposedly happened by random chance.
Again, straight from Wikipedia, nearly verbatim, apart from a couple of slips, a meaningless addition and a superfluous jab at a straw man. These effects, the lack of limb darkening, our visual system being plastic, the opposition effects, are not random. They are the way we and the universe works, the universe following natural laws and humans having been sculpted by natural selection.
So, you have to ask yourself this: where did the moon come from? Where did our beautiful moon come from? Where did the moon come from that is so very important and plays such a very important aspect in human life?
And in spite of Chad's gesticulating and angry fist shaking at science, the answer is still, the currently favoured hypothesis is that the moon was formed by a collision between a large, approximately Mars-sized body and the young Earth.
Did it come from God? Did God create it? Or did it happen by random chance from an imaginary planet that has been shown there's no evidence for, and the giant impact hypothesis is not real? It could not have happened, and I gave you 8 reasons why. So, Planet Thea, it's over, man. Life over.
Yes, Chad, yes. All those scientists who study this definitely know less than you about this, and you completely disproved their hypothesis. I best pass on the message. It's over. Chad, he who knoweth so much has spoken. Get real, Chad. You've no idea. You've shown nothing that the scientific community don't already know about. You don't know better than the people who dedicate their lives to the study of solar system physics. The hypothesis is far from over. To claim otherwise is disingenuous. Goodbye everyone. Take care.